Alright, good evening folks, it's Enforcer Matt and welcome back to another Short War Summary, and today we have breaking news coming out of Moldova in the breakaway region of Transnistria that a drone has hit a quote-unquote military unit in that area, and this is potentially another false flag attack because it's being reported on quite heavily by Russian state media. And we're also learning that Ukraine's launched one of the war's biggest attacks on Russian airfields inside of the Russian mainland last night and has destroyed several aircraft. And finally, we're also learning that Iran is still ramping up their war escalations. So, with that, we're jumping into our first article today, which goes to Fitux News. And in this post, we can see a military unit attacked by kamikaze drone in Moldova's Transnistria region. That happened allegedly last night, and a radar station was damaged, causing no casualties. And at Transnistria's Ministry of State Security said that, and they reported that on TASS, which is Russian state media. And if you'll recall, just a short while ago, maybe a couple of weeks back, there was a abandoned helicopter in Transnistria that was actually struck by a drone as well, and it was trying to be framed like it was maybe Ukraine that did it. However, there were so many red flags around that incident, for example, the helicopter being freshly fueled up, that made it look like it was really a false flag attempt, and eventually it was very much disproven that that was not an actual attack, and it was someone trying to do a false flag, most likely Russia. Now, but this is sounding a bit similar, like it could be a false flag also. And in our next post here from Nexta, we actually have footage from the scene itself, as well as the drone coming in over the sky of this quote-unquote military base or military unit that looks more like a junkyard. So let's take a look at the footage and see what we have here.
Drone.
You can see him yelling drone, and there goes one flying right overhead. You can see it right here in the middle of the screen. And these guys here who are in the quote-unquote military unit are just sort of wandering around, their faces blurred, waiting to see what happens. And in a moment, you'll see the drone circle right back around and come back to where these guys are standing. And there it goes right there. It is coming back. And you can kind of hear it in the background right there. And now it is on final descent. So that drone struck over there in the corner, out of sight from the camera, but this is the aftermath of the attack. This nicely dug hole right here is the aftermath of it. And apparently, from the sounds of that explosion, this is somewhat of a small hole, if that's actually what was caused by that. And here's another photo of it as well. And just a very, very nice hole right there. So it actually hit nothing. So, you know, I'm not sure what the Russians were reporting about it destroyed or damaged a radar unit, because I don't see that. It looks like it just hit the ground. Take that for what you will. It looks to me like maybe another failed false flag attempt, but I'll leave it up to the audience what y'all think about it. And with that, we'll be moving on to our next post here, which goes to Nexta once again. And in this post, you can see the main Directorate of Intelligence of Ukraine and the AFU attacked airfields in Engels, Yesk, and Kursk. And this is reported by sources of RBC Ukraine. And according to their information, at least 3 strategic bombers, the Tu-95MS, received serious damage at the military airfield Engels 2. And in Yesk, according to the interlocutors of the publication, 2 aircraft of the occupiers Su-25 were completely burned, and another Russian airfield in Kursk was also hit, and the results of this attack have not yet been reported in detail. So we actually have gotten more details since this post came out, and in the next one here, we can see this is from Ukraine Reporter, and it says, overnight, Ukraine launched one of the largest ever drone attacks on Russia, with more than 50 long-range Ukrainian drones targeting over 4 air bases, from which Russia launches fighter bombers that attack Ukrainian frontline positions and strategic bombers that terrorize all of Ukraine. And taking a look at the map here, you can see that Kursk is right up here, and here's Ukraine, obviously, so it's right here along somewhat of the border of Ukraine. The farthest away is Engels out here, which is where the strategic bombers are stationed. This is more farther away from the border. And then down here you have Yesk and Morozovsk. So down here you'll have fighter bombers, Su-34s, and strategic bombers at Engels. So quite a big attack indeed, and 50 drones coming from Ukraine to hit the Russian mainland. That is certainly a very large drone attack indeed, and it was very potent, as we'll see in our next post here, which goes to Visegrad 24. And in this post we see satellite pictures show that 29 Russian fighter jets and fighter bombers were at the Morozovsk airbase near Rostov just hours before the Ukrainian drone swarm struck it last night. And the initial reports talk about 6 planes destroyed, and like Visegrad 24 said, at the moment this post was made, they were waiting for more confirmation. And moving on to our next post here, we can actually see we got confirmation of that. Kyiv said 6 Russian warplanes were indeed destroyed by drones, and it was at that airbase right here in Morozovsk. So it was a successful mission indeed, and Russia has lost yet 6 more aircraft, which they cannot afford to replace. And moving on from this, we actually have some footage from the event itself here in Morozovsk, a ground view of one of the strikes on this facility, and PS-01 thinks the pilots might have also been targeted in addition to the planes themselves. So let's take a look at the video and see what we have here. You hear the drone coming in right now. Right there, these guys swimming right next to it, and it hit the airbase pretty hard. So that was just one of the 50 drones that came in last night. So that was only a piece, 1/50th of the size of the actual attack itself, just to give you an idea of how big these explosions were that struck the airbase. But with that, we're actually moving on to our next article here, which goes to Charles Lister on Twitter, and we're going to switch gears just a little bit to discuss Iran for just a brief moment. We've heard from the Iran defense minister today that has said the decision to exact revenge on Israel has been made, and we will deal them a powerful blow, and it will be implemented. And like Charles Lister said right here, you really can't back down from rhetoric like this, and the only question is the timing on it. And right now, that is the question that nobody really has, or the question that nobody has an answer to, is when is this attack actually going to happen on Israel? Nobody really knows. Many people were speculating that it could have happened last night, but there's new intel coming out today that it might happen anytime throughout the day here on Friday, or maybe into the weekend. So we simply don't know yet, but it sounds pretty certain that an attack will take place, and it's beginning to sound pretty likely it might take place from Iran's mainland directly, which would be a pretty big provocation. And Israel has already stated that if Iran attacks their place directly, they are going to respond with severe force, which could start an all-out war. So the Iran situation and the Israel situation is certainly one to watch very closely. That is a big point of provocation right now around the world outside of Ukraine. So with that, we are jumping into our next article here, which goes to Visegrad 24, and we're starting to hear several countries are suspending their adherence to the Treaty of Conventional Armed Forces in Europe, and Turkey is the newest member to do so, and there will now be no longer any limits on the number of soldiers and where they can be stationed now that Turkey has withdrawn from this treaty. And we also saw Poland leave that treaty just a few days ago, and they're not the only countries to leave it. And in our next post here, which is also from Nexta, we can see the Belarusian dictator Lukashenko has agreed to submit to the lower house of parliament a bill to suspend the Treaty on Conventional Armed Forces in Europe as well. And in recent months, one after another, European countries have announced they are suspending that treaty. And like it said right here, in March, Poland and Moldova also suspended it. It sounds like a lot of countries are starting to leave this treaty right here, which some speculate might be the early signs of a war coming in Europe on a large scale. But right now it's a little too early to tell. But of course, that has been a risk factor the entire time the Ukraine war has been going on. So we'll just have to keep an eye on that as well and see how many other countries also suspend that treaty. And with that, we are now moving on to our next post. And this one is also going to go to Nexta. And we see here that F-16 fighter jets will not be a silver bullet for the AFU in the war with Russia, says the NATO Secretary Stoltenberg in an interview with BILD, also known as BILD. And it says, quote unquote, I think the fact that NATO allies are supplying F-16s and also training pilots and supplying weapons to the fighters is another example of significant military support for Ukraine, but the situation on the battlefield cannot be changed by one system, and it is not a silver bullet that can change the entire war. And on this one, I'll generally have to agree with Stoltenberg. I don't think the F-16s are going to be a silver bullet for Ukraine, but I do believe they will be a major help and advantage over Russia, because this will give Ukraine an air edge or air advantage over the Russian forces, because right now Ukraine doesn't have a very large air force, and the F-16s will allow Ukraine to get that edge over Russia's air force to be able to strike down targets and to also strike ground targets in the meantime. So I think the F-16s are going to be a pretty big help, but they aren't going to be the end-all for the war. But they should still arrive in Ukraine very quick because they are highly needed. But with that, we are now moving on to our last article of the day, and this one also goes to Nexta. And in this post, we can see a monument to Yevgeny Prigozhin and Dmitry Utkin of Wagner was erected in Krasnodar's region, and it says apparently it is installed on the territory of the chapel of PMC Wagner, which is located in the forest area before the entrance to the city. And the chapel opened in 2018, and there is a memorial complex and a cemetery on its territory. And first off, I didn't even know Wagner had a chapel. That's a bit of a shock to me. It seems like the last thing Wagner would need is a chapel with the war crimes and atrocities they've committed. But here's an actual statue of Nutsack himself right here in the front, and also his Nazi buddy, Dmitry Utkin, back here in the back. And they're being portrayed as war heroes even after they were actually assassinated by the Russian government. And it now seems like they're being hailed for whatever reason after they were basically butchered by Putin. So that makes no sense whatsoever. But there you go, a monument to a nutsack. Never thought I would see that in a million years, but there it is. So with that is actually our last article of the day. So I hope you found this video informative, and if you have, please press that like button and subscribe to the channel as well, because that greatly helps us get the news out there. And if you want to support us financially, because that is one of the sole ways we are funded on this channel, is crowdfunding by the viewers, you can go to our Patreon page, and the link is in the description below, and you can sign up over there to help us stay afloat financially, which is a major help as well. So with that, thank you all for watching. We'll see you all tonight at 10 p.m. Eastern on our nightly war news stream, and bye-bye for now.